what he didn't know was that they were going to fraudulently edit the film to make him look like a buffoon.
Like we do with every single episode for you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
This is original reality TV.
Yeah, I know.
With cartoons.
The Coyote, after the cartoons started coming out and he caught wind of it, he went public actually denouncing the cartoons as fraudulent propaganda. And coincidentally or not, the state of Arizona announced the day after his press conference that they were implementing a new predator reduction program. And so there's been some theorizing right there alone that there might be maybe the fix was in with the state of Arizona. And so the Coyote after that point kind of vanished from public view other than the cartoons. And so the other thing about this, the propaganda thing is if you look very closely at the cartoons, the Roadrunner is actually subtly different in many of the episodes. And the reason that is theorized as well, he got killed a lot. The Coyote actually succeeded in killing him all the time. But again, through editing, they could take out the parts where he got blown up, stabbed, or whatever. For example, that same episode I was talking about, episode 29, with the missile. Well, the missile catches up with him. He goes, meep, meep, and then disappears down the highway. Well, actually, right after he went, meep, meep, the missile exploded and shredded him. Yeah.
They just edited it.
They did. They chopped it right there, and then they put in footage of another Roadrunner sprinting down the highway and getting away.
This is like the Three Stooges when they're just splicing in old footage.
Yeah. And so there were actually many, it appears there were actually many Roadrunners, and a lot of them got killed. In this particular case, the Coyote did get his dinner, but there was not that much. It was about enough to fill a taco. And but a little disappointing for him, but he did get something out of it.
Yeah.
And so those are those two theories about Acme. And there's a few other ones out there too. Yet one more head of Acme, I guess. I forgot about this one. And that is Wile E. Coyote is a genius, and he is the head of Acme. Believe it or not. Yeah, Wile E. Coyote is not only a genius, and he can talk, which you never see him doing in the cartoons.
He holds signs up sometimes.
He can
in the
write.
cartoons, he holds signs up.
Yeah.
Well, you don't see him writing because you just see him holding up the signs.
That's true, yeah.
I swear I've seen ones where he's like scribbling on it and then holds it up. I swear I've seen, maybe that's older or that's newer ones since the original series.
Well, that could be, but my understanding is the prop guy would hand him a sign and he would just hold it up to the camera. But essentially, Wile E. Coyote not only he's not chasing the Roadrunner. He may not even know the Roadrunner even exists. Actually, he's busy running on Acme Corporation, and what he's done is he has hired a bunch of coyotes out in Arizona to be product testers. And for example, if they've sent some coyote or another, say a bunch of rocket-powered roller skates, and they're out there testing them on the highway, and it just happens to be a Roadrunner, well, what are you going to do? You're a coyote. With rocket-powered roller skates, of course you're going to try to chase. Yeah, but like many product testers and test pilots and test people, they often had patchy results. Sometimes they got killed or maimed or hurt. But yeah, and so that's why there were a lot of coyotes. And one of the theories behind this is that the coyote, like I said, never talks in the Roadrunner cartoons. But in the Looney Tunes universe, actually, Wile E. Coyote appeared in some other cartoons.
And he's very well spoken.
Yeah, and he speaks a lot, animal. So why is he not talking in the Roadrunner cartoon? Well, probably because it's just, less intelligent sort of...
Product testing.
Yeah, dunderhead coyotes that, from out there in the sticks. And another thing is that in the cartoons, Wile E. Coyote is always coming back from the dead. Well, I'm sorry, that's not possible.
True.
Yeah.
So this is a new theory?
Yeah. So
we're off of product testers? Or
no, we're still in the same theory. Wile E. Coyote is a genius, and there were just many coyotes, and that's why, of course, it had to be a bunch of different coyotes. Wile E. Coyote.
Are we saying maybe he cloned himself?
He could have possibly cloned himself, or it's just possible he hired a bunch of coyotes, because, let's face it, there's a lot of coyotes out there.
That's true.
Yeah, and so... that is that theory. And actually, I think that the theory that he was the head of Acme is a better theory than the theory that the Roadrunner was the head of Acme.
Yeah.
I believe so. I really do. Although it's not airtight, I gotta admit, there's a few holes in it. Yeah.
His behavior in other crossover appearances. You can see it.
Yeah. And then there was that one where he's trying to get the sheep, and the sheepdog keeps beating the stuffing out of him.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was, I think that was early in his career before he actually, he was working his way through college. And then got himself an MBA.
Forgot about the sheepdog with the red muff, or the red stripe in front of his eyes.
Yeah, and they would clock in the morning. Morning, Ralph. Morning, Fred.
Right, yeah.
That's a classic.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm off course here. What am I saying? There's another theory out there, which is that neither one of them is actually head of acne, but these cartoons take place in a post-apocalyptic nuclear wasteland.
Huh.
Which, yeah.
When did the cartoon series start?
I believe 49. I think it started in 1949 and ran through 66. So we're talking Cold War.
Yeah, we're talking, totally nuclear scare time. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
As I already said, the cartoons were set in Arizona. It appears actually in Monument Valley, Arizona. Popular tourist destination. And yet, you never see a car. You never see a human being, ever. It's totally deserted. It's Mad Max land out there. Another pro in this theory is that the coyote seems desperate for food. He wants that roadrunner really bad. But if there were still people around, there'd be a lot of leaving...
Scraps.
A lot of scraps, a lot of garbage piles to go through, things like that. Apparently, those don't exist anymore because people are gone. They've been exterminated by nuclear war.
Interesting.
Yeah. Well, and another thing is that the roadrunner, as you know, runs abnormally fast in these cartoons.
Mm-hmm.
Because in real life, the actual top speed, as far as I know, of a roadrunner is 26 miles an hour. That is the record for a roadrunner.
What's the top record for coyote?
About 40 miles an hour, I've heard.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
So,
top record for like a missile is much faster.
Yes.
Yeah.
and so you sort of wonder if maybe the effects of radiation have caused the mutation to make super speedy roadrunners, or maybe just R1 at least is abnormally fast because he's practically supersonic.
He's the Flash.
Yeah, and then of course we've got the
Oh.
coyote himself. The coyote is standing on two legs, and he's actually ordering stuff from Acme and assembling it, doing all kinds of sophisticated stuff. Maybe once again, radiation does amazing things.
Yeah.
It teaches you how to assemble things from IKEA, apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so, of course, one of the cons of this is, well, if it's a post-apocalyptic world, then how can Acme Corporation exist, and how can he be ordering stuff from them? And what I believe actually is happening here is that he's picking through the remains of this wasteland and just finding Acme products and adapting them in his quest to kill the Roadrunner or Roadrunners. And the whole thing is just he's actually kind of delusional about that. He wants human civilization to return. He wants the world to go back to the way it used to be. And so he's actually, even though he's finding these products, he's got this dreamlike delusion going on in his head that it's actually he's ordering them and they're being delivered to him by some human being. But actually, no, he's just picking them off the trash pile or taking them out of somebody's house. Or
Kind of like Wall-E?
Yeah, kind of like Wall-E, yeah. So,
Wile E. Coyote, the original Wall-E. That's why they both have E in their name.
Maybe.
Yeah, well, could be.
Yeah.
Wall-E, Wile-E. Yeah, good point. You guys like that one or not?
I know.
It's kind of sad and hopeless.
Yeah.
It is, yeah. Okay, let's move on to the next one, which is even more sad and hopeless.
Sweet!
Yeah, this is a popular one out there on the interwebs. This one is that Wile E. Coyote is in hell.
I like this one the most.
Yeah, and so in this particular interpretation of the universe, the first episode of the series actually did take place on planet Earth. And of course, as always, the coyote dies, because he always dies multiple
Spoiler.
times.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then all the rest of the episodes after that took place in hell, even though you can't tell, but...
Well,
Arizona
I was
is
gonna
kind of
say
hellish.
Arizona's kind of like
Yeah.
hell, so
Yeah, apologies to our Arizona listeners.
They
so
know.
As to why he was sent to hell, I guess the feeling is that because he tried to murder the Roadrunner, which apparently is a sin.
maybe
Foul
he's
murder.
just awful. Maybe he's just
Maybe
awful.
it's just a terrible human
Or
being.
maybe it's
yeah.
that whole no dogs don't go to heaven, so
Yeah,
maybe coyotes
where
aren't
else
allowed
do you
in
go?
heaven.
Yeah, that's it. So they got to go to hell.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just like goats.
Yeah.
I know. I just
Just
love
like
it.
goats.
He shows up, knock, knock. St. Peter says, "Go to hell."
Yeah.
And
Get out of here.
Yeah, scat. So poor guy's got to go to hell.
Yeah.
I love me a good St. Peter joke. I've got a lot of them. But we'll do that later.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Different episode.
Yeah, so the pros in this theory. Well, the setting is it's a scorched, blazing hot desert, which they never can escape. You know, they never leave the desert.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and they both apparently have the means to get out of there. I mean, the Roadrunner can move super fast, so it could escape, but it doesn't.
Yeah.
The Coyote's smart enough to figure out how to order stuff from Acme, so he could probably score a map and figure out a place to go where, you know, there's a little more foliage and it's not so hot, and yet he can't, it seems like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I was about to say, well, there's at least one, if not more, episodes where he's gone up into the mountain, into the snow, but he's freezing.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, well, that's very hell-like, though. You go from one extreme of discomfort to the other extreme of discomfort, from
also
cooking alive to freezing alive.
Sure, yeah.
And he's also, you know, kind of stuck in this mortal loop.
Yeah.
You know?
It's kind of like Groundhog Day.
Like, literally his
Yeah.
entire life is just caught up in failing in, like, horrendous ways to,
Yeah, I know.
to achieve his goal, which I think is kind of like
And
hell.
his goal is, yeah, exactly. His goal is always withheld from him. His dream is he's always chasing this creature. You can never catch it. He's always pursuing this dream that he will never realize.
This is this one actually explains the one thing I've been waiting for you to explain in the Roadrunner series, which is the painted tunnels. You know, he paints the tunnel with the road going through it, and the Roadrunner goes through it, and then he goes into it, and thunk, hits it hard.
Pure smash, exactly. So the normal rules of physics and everything don't seem to apply in this place. Well,
so what you're saying is the Roadrunner is Satan.
Or Satan's agent or something, but
let's be honest, Satan can't actually inflict pain and hell on everybody.
Yeah,
he
definitely needs assistance.
And what better assistance?
And also, Satan can do a lot, but he can't run that fast.
No.
Yeah.
Have you seen those hooves?
Well, and here's the other thing. I mean, again, as I mentioned earlier, the Roadrunner in the cartoons runs unnaturally fast, faster than they actually ever do in real life. Well,
and faster than a rocket.
Man, you know, whereas in real life, usually a coyote can outrun a Roadrunner.
Yeah.
And,
so it
but in
explains
hell,
a lot.
yeah, that explains something.
Yeah.
And of course, you know, last of all, the coyote can't die. Have you noticed that? Every time he gets killed, he comes back.
Yep.
Well, he never actually dies, though. That's the thing, is like he falls down and you see the poof when he hits the bottom of the cliff or the chasm, and then there he is, bandaged up, but somehow still alive.
Yeah, so it's one of either he just cannot be killed, or he dies, but then like in Groundhog Day, like Bill Murray in Groundhog Day, the next day he wakes up and crap, I'm back in hell.
Yep.
You know, and so
here I am.
Yeah, I'm.
Which level of hell is he on in Dante's scale?
Yeah, for real.
Yeah, he's on the Arizona level. Yeah. Not to put down Arizona, a fine place. And so there's the hell theory. That's a popular one.
I like that one the most.
Yeah. You know what's funny? A lot of cartoons have a hell theory out there. This is, besides the three that we're talking about today, I was casting about for others. And it's amazing how many hell/purgatory theories there are out there for different cartoons.
Yeah, well, because, you know, a lot of these creatures really kind of are going through hell.
Well, I mean, even the ones that are with human cartoon characters, like Ed, Edd, and Eddie, that there's a theory that they're in hell. I mean, it's weird.
Mm-hmm. Well, it could be.
Hey, Arnold is supposed to be a parable of death as well. So.
Yeah.
I have a theory that we're in hell.
Right now, because it is so bleeding hot in here.
Oh, it's not that bad. Well, let's move on to our next and last theory.
For the Roadrunner?
Yeah, for our Roadrunner Coyote cartoons.
Okay.
And that is that the cartoons were actually a creation of the Arizona Department of Tourism. and the reason they did it is that they were afraid that tourists who had small children or babies would be concerned about the dingo ate my baby scenarios, you know, and, you know, young mothers and with little babies worrying that they were going to be carried up by the coyotes and stuff. And so they made these blatant propaganda films that essentially portrayed the coyotes as harmless and just incredibly incompetent, and that they can't even catch and kill a freaking Roadrunner, even with all kinds of tech to back them up. They can't do it. You know, it's sort of a reassuring thing for potential tourists.
Yeah, I prefer that they're in hell.
You like that one? Well, here's some of the pluses here for this theory. It is set in Arizona, as we said, and it's set Arizona, let's face it, is a fairly big place, but it's set in Monument Valley. At least I seem to recognize some of the landmarks there. And yet you'll probably find actually more coyotes in like the suburb of Phoenix, outlying areas around Phoenix. So why isn't it set there? That would be just as passable, really.
Well, but think about when it started, is that Phoenix was not nearly as sprawling of a city then as it was now. There was a hell of a lot more open desert space, and the coyotes weren't in town because people weren't in their space.
Well, I'm sure they were still in the periphery of town, but my point is that it's not a coincidence, I think, that they picked one of the most scenic, most touristy places in Arizona to enact their little drama. The Department of Tourism obviously wants tourists to come there, so they not only send this thing out saying, hey, the dingo ain't going to eat your baby, by the way, he can't, he's too stupid, and also, hey, look at this fantastic scenery. Don't you want to come to Arizona?
Yeah.
And so I think it was just basically propaganda by the Department of Tourism. And so those are our theories. And there's one more Roadrunner mystery, actually, which is, and this mystery is, why did they do it? But let me tell you the story first. And a movie came out in 1979 called The Villain, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger and Kirk Douglas. And it's not a cartoon, it's actually a film movie. And essentially it's a rip-off of the Roadrunner Coyote movies, starring with Arnold essentially as the Roadrunner and Kirk Douglas as the Coyote.
You're kidding me.
It's hard to believe. That's the mystery here. Who thought this was a good idea?
No one.
It's just, somebody obviously did. They made the movie.
What year was it?
I think it came out in. He made a lot.
I was going to say, Arnie was Mr. Universe at least once, if not twice at that point. He was gold.
Oh yeah, and he made in his early career some frankly horrible movies. Truly terrible.
Oh yeah, they dubbed him. His speaking voice was so unintelligible at one point.
At least one they did, yeah. But anyway, this one's great. If you can find it on Netflix or whatever, it's called The Villain. Stars Schwarzenegger and Kirk Douglas. And boy, it's so bad. It's so bad. It's so bad, it's good. It really is. Rent it and have your friends over, get some beers, have a party, and just laugh yourselves silly because, boy, it's bad. Okay. Anyway, but that's off the topic. That's about it for my cartoon conspiracies for the Coyote and the Roadrunner.
Great.
Yeah. So what do you guys want to talk about now?
Well, I have one.
Oh.
You do?
Well, of course I do. This was the 3-story thing that we agreed on.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I noticed that my stuff got bumped to the end, like you were going to try and cut me out, but no, not happening this time.
Okay.
Yeah, no.
My theory is all based around none other than Scooby-Doo. The cartoon that formed the majority of my personality, I'm pretty sure.
I'm pretty sure that's true too.
My personality. I've always identified with this show through my entire life.
Yeah.
I love this show. But
obviously a lot of people did.
Yeah. Well, and the funny thing is that, we should probably do this because we have to do this in the beginning of each of these, is that for anybody who grew up under a rock and doesn't know who Scooby-Doo is.
Or is like 7. We have young listeners.
Oh, yeah. So they're not under a rock. They're under their parents' thumb. Yes. So Scooby-Doo is a cartoon. It was originally released in 1969 by CBS. And was made by Hanna-Barbera, who at that time basically created just about every cartoon that was out there.
Yeah, they did like the Flintstones and the Jetsons. And
their catalog is huge.
Yeah.
If you go to their website, it is just amazing the number of shows that they have.
There's an interesting Hanna-Barbera universe theory out there too.
So. I'm not surprised by this at all.
Next time we do this.
So the Scooby-Doo show has a cast of characters that is very similar to the cast of characters on this podcast. And by that I mean that they go out and they solve mysteries every week.
Jinkies.
And we have a dog.
Yeah.
Well, we have 2 cats. So close enough.
And Joe identifies with Fred, but it's mostly because of the ascot that he's wearing all the time.
Oh, yeah. I like my ascot.
So basically the gang is made up, for those who don't know, 5 members. There is Fred, who maybe is the de facto leader. There's Daphne, who is the pretty one, and she's always getting caught.
Okay, all right.
She fills the damsel in distress.
Hmm?
She fills the damsel in distress.
Yep. There's Velma. She's the smart one and the skeptic. She's skeptical about everything, specifically the supernatural. And then there's Shaggy. He's the tall, goofy guy who loves food and is constantly scared of everything. And of course, the namesake of the show, Scooby-Doo, who is a Great Dane and, like Shaggy, is scared of just about everything and absolutely loves food, and in particular, his Scooby snacks.
Which are what?
Scooby snacks.
Scooby snacks. That's like those little chocolate bars you get out of the litter box?
No, that's Kitty Almond Roca. That's a completely different snack.
Okay.
But the most important thing about Scooby is he can talk. Mm-hmm. Scooby can talk.
Yeah.
What, bro, Raggy?
Uh-huh.
Love Scooby. So it should come as no surprise that just like all the other ones, there are conspiracy or fan theories out there surrounding the show.
Of course.
And there are dozens, if not hundreds of them, and I really pared the list down to what I would consider the key theories out there.
The best ones.
Yeah, they're the best ones. I mean, there's some fun ones, like there's the author Ailey Martinez. I was reading his website. He actually came up with Scooby theories, which is really funny that he took the time to do that. We're not going to include his, but that just gives you an idea of like Scooby is so prevalent and so far out there. So let's start with theory number one of
Let's hear it.
Scooby-Doo. The first theory is that Shaggy and Scooby are high from smoking pot all the time.
I thought that wasn't even a theory. I thought that was just accepted.
Well, that's why I made it the first one to tackle here.
Okay.
So for people who may not have been in the know like Devin and just made that presumption, there's a couple of things you'll notice about Shaggy and Scooby. Like I said, they are always, and I mean always, hungry. They are always scared, almost to the point of paranoia. They will do almost anything, though, for a Scooby snack. Initially, it's only Scooby, but eventually Shaggy gets in on the game and will do things for Scooby snacks, which makes people think that maybe the Scooby snack is a euphemism for pot cookies. So this is following the stoner theory.
Of course, if you're already stoned, I don't think you really need any more. Probably don't need pot cookies.
You obviously have not known people who like to partake in the marijuana.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, no.
Taking
There's
the
never enough. It's just like the Twitter. The marijuana is just like the Twitter. That's the way we
Very
talk about
game.
these things.
Okay.
Okay, more descriptions about these two that make people think that possibly they're high all the time. Well, they laugh and they giggle a lot. They're very distracted and spaced out, so they're not paying attention, and then all of a sudden, they realize where they are, which is very drug habit behavior.